Working on a Trailblazer SS LS2 engine. The AC compressor went out on it. The issue I was having was the clutch. When it would disengage, it was making an awful sound like it was over spinning. Didn't find anything on YouTube or on the internet to tell me what that was about. It wasn't locking up. The pulley spun free with the engine off. The clutch even could turn, so nothing was locked up. But every time it would disengage, it would make this awful sound like it's over revving, over spinning. That was pretty loud. Engaging was fine. So thought I could limp along with it. Maybe even thought about changing the clutch out on it. But glad I didn't. One day I'll put some more Freon in it, and apparently overcharged it. There were some internal problems going on with it. So it blew the rupture disc at the back. Shot out some of the oil and Freon. So it has a separate belt, so you can actually drive it without the air conditioner. But it's in June in South Carolina, so it's kind of hot. Would love to have the AC working. So here we are trying to get the AC compressor out of the way. Not a lot of videos on YouTube. I thought I would do this real quick. Well, it won't be real quick, but there's a lot involved with this. It's not very simple. To get it out, what I've done so far, definitely got to take your intake air cleaner off, and then you have your windshield washer tube container. Want to definitely get that out of the way. The reason why I say that, because you want to get to your orifice tube, and it's down here. This is the little orifice tube deal, and I've already got it taken out to kind of see what I had going on, and I'm glad I did. So if you want to change your AC compressor, I would definitely recommend changing the orifice tube. I believe it's a 20 and a 21 millimeter to get these off. And you want to change your accumulator dryer. I haven't changed this one yet because I'm still trying to fish this AC compressor out of the way, and I'll show you what I'm running up against for that. So there's 4 bolts to it. You got 1 bolt here at the back, and it's hard to get to. The only thing I found that worked was a crow's foot, 15 millimeter crow's foot socket. I think that's what they call them, 15 millimeter crow's foot socket. And that was the only thing that worked to get it up in there and be able to take that bolt out. Slow, about a quarter turn each time, but worked. The other problem that I had when I got the bolt loose, it was bumping up against the motor mount, and it was like a thread left because I couldn't pull the bolt all the way out, but I could wiggle it side to side, but I could not get it free to get the compressor out of the way. So Dremel tool comes in handy for this. About 1/8 of an inch, just notched out a section on the motor mount to give me that thread or two that I needed to get that bolt the rest of the way out. It worked great. If you have one of these Trailblazer SS's and you want to lower them, another problem you'll run into later on is when you lower these things, you're gonna have to notch out the body frame with a Dremel tool to get this bolt out of your upper control arm. That's the only way to get it out. A lot of people bend them out the way. I didn't want to bend it. I had a Dremel tool, cut a little notch out for the bolt, and it was nothing to it. Bolt come right out. Dremel tool on this one too. Bolt come right out. There's 4 bolts. There's one on the bottom that bumps in with the frame. It's still in the AC compressor now, but loose, but it won't come all the way out because it's going to bump against the frame. Ended up taking the thermostat housing off and out of the way. I thought I could come up this way with it. Heater hoses, they were not that hard to get off. Lower radiator hose, I went ahead and took it off, drained the radiator. But what I'm running into now, transmission cooler lines. AC compressors bumping up against the transmission cooler lines. The tensioner pulley is back here. It may be, some people I've seen or read online that they've taken the tensioner pulley out of the way. I may end up doing that, but my biggest problem right now is these transmission cooler lines. I have not taken the fan shroud out yet, but I may have to because there's no bending with these. But if I take the fan shroud off and out of the way, these transmission cooler lines should be able to bend forward for me, and I believe I can get this out. General Motors, I've read online that they take about 4.5 hours for the Chevrolet dealerships to get these out. Man, I don't know. Yes, I've been working on this since Monday. Here it is Thursday. It's really taking a while. The special tools, like I said, was a crow's foot Dremel tool. To get the orifice tube out, I got one of these pullers, orifice tube pullers. I don't know if I can do it one-handed, because I couldn't pull it out with needle nose. These orifice tube pullers are great. The orifice tube, very dirty, had some internal things going on, so glad I changed it, or I'm in the process of changing it. But definitely get you one of these orifice tube pullers, pulls it right on out. That's just a protective guard over it, it's little hooks that go over it. And also, next project, you're going to have one of these tools to get the fan nut. Off. And the way this works, let's see if I can do this one-handed also. But there's some spanner holes in the fan pulley. This way you can hold the fan, and a 36mm wrench. I ended up getting one of these that are offset. Gives you more strength, I believe, if you get them offset. And 36mm. Put it on that nut, supposedly to go off and get this baby off. So that's where we're at with it right now. I want to see if that won't be my answer to the problem I'm having, trying to fish the AC compressor out. And at this point I cannot, because of the transmission cooler lines, because they won't give, because they're up against the fan shroud, and to take the fan shroud out you got to take the fan off. And I'll take another video to let you know how that's going. Hope this helps some people. Did a lot of research before I started this job, ordered some tools that I thought I would need, and glad I ordered them. Talk to you guys later.